I'm not asking for much. Only your soul.
What's up YouTube, it's Ira the Boat, and I want to make a shout out to Fiction777. That is a viewer that took the time to comment under my meta snapshot and said, hey, I'm looking for a deck for Nergigante, but at the time there wasn't really a good deck for Nergigante, so I told him in the reply, I said, keep it in mind. And I also want to make another shout out to Memiot. Memiot is the TEPPEN World Qualifier for EU, and they actually made this Spike Launch Nergigante deck and made number 1 with it on November 10th. And November 10th is a very good time for the meta to just kind of settle in, and getting number 1 at that time is definitely speaks volume on how good a deck is. So we're just going to be taking a look at it. Alright, here's the deck. This is your average Spike Launch Nergigante deck list. A lot of the card choices in here are very reminiscent of the old style for a mono black Spike Launch Nerg. However, you can notice some very key differences. Not only are we playing new cards, but we are also optimizing in numbers and adjusting to the meta. So, for those of you who don't know what Spike Launch does, it is a hero art where you will deal an AoE damage. You'll deal up to 12 damage split to your opponent's units, depending on how much life you have cut throughout the game. So it's a scaling hero art, but it caps at 12. It's very powerful because if you are ahead, it allows you to just stay on ahead, which is something that this deck does very well at. So let's look at some of the card choices. So we have 3 Self-Predation. This card allows you to gain 21 life if you have 3 of them. It's also a very cheap card to use. In the current meta, a lot of mono black decks are running 3x each. There's not a reason not to run 3 of them. Next up we have Dark Exchange. This is a newer card that you can only use with black heroes, and Nergigante is a black hero. This card synergizes with our deck because it allows us to have our units on death sacrifice 1 life. In addition, once that unit dies, it'll go back into the deck with half the cost reduced rounded up. And this ability will go on for 60 seconds for 2 MP. That's a really good ability for 2 MP. You can use this card to, stick out the long game. You could also use it to establish the early game so you can get that sacrifice life and prepare for mid game. There isn't really a bad time to use this card. Next up we have Crow. So Crow is a 3-mana 2/5 flight. When played, sacrifice 3 life. This card as a 2/5, that's your average baseline stats. Now the thing about us only playing 1 of Crow, I can see it because flight can do a lot of damage. It can come clutch in a lot of situations. However, I do believe that the choice for 1 copy of Crow was right on the money, because there are other 3-cost units that give different abilities, and having that flight unit may not always be optimal because a lot of players have already been prepared for flight. The TEPPEN game has been a lot faster, so running 3 of these might become useless. But just having 1 copy might be enough to just, get the value, but also not lose the potency of that card. Next up we have Dynamo. We have 3 of these, and this card on growth will become a 4/8. A 4/8, usually you would pay like 5 or more MP for that type of stat line, but with Dynamo you can pay 3 MP, and even if you don't get the growth level off, it's still a 2/5. So this is a pretty good unit, and also it sacrifices life on growth, so it fits with the deck tremendously. Next up we have Junie. This is usually part of the Zombie Core Engine, and Zombie Core Engine just means units that, when they die you get 1 MP back. There's a lot of units like that, and Junie's one of the better ones. so that gives us a lot of advantage over the opponent. Next up we have Alfred Ashford. This card has been seeing a lot more play this meta because when you have this card and it dies, it destroys a random enemy unit with 3 MP or less. And what's really nice about this card is it works very well against the mono red on play burn Ami matchup, because a lot of their units are 3 costs, and once they trade, Alfred kills one of theirs, and it helps you keep up in the matchup. In other cases, it also helps you stay ahead. Now in the meta, you will see a lot of opponents play 3 drops, so there is just more value for Alfred Ashford to be played. That's why there's 3 of them. Next up we have the worst of the gates, but still a great gate. So this is a 3 mana 2/7, and a 2/7 is actually above, average, because average is 2/5, and having that 2 extra health even allows gate to trade evenly, not necessarily evenly, but trade pretty well against like, a 4 cost 3/7 for example. And this card, when it's played, will sacrifice 2 of your life, and you have the option to ascend, meaning destroy one of your units and place this on top to get a 3/9 gate. Next up we have the better of the gate, probably the best 3 drop in TEPPEN. This card can turn into a Junie by getting that growth level 2. Once it dies, it gains you 1 MP back, and on growth level 3, you get the spike dive bomb effect. So effectively, it'll become a 6/9 unit, but it will destroy itself after 1 attack. Now generally when you have the spike dive bomb ability effects, what you want to do is you want to set it up to where that level 3 growth happens when the gate is about to block. If the gate is about to block before it attacks, that's the perfect time to use it. If you use it when gate's about to attack, you're actually losing value because you're not getting the block, which kills an enemy unit, and then get the looming threat where it pushes forward. Now there are scenarios and outliers where it does make sense to play the level 3 growth early, but you'll just kind of have to play on your toes. Next up we have Fate of the Unworthy. This is a 3 cost that allows you to kill a 4 drop, and also no matter what, your opponent will take 1 damage whether you destroyed the unit or not. It is important to note that this card will not hit ascended units, but that's fine because not a lot of opponents play Ascension. Next up we have Civilization Rebel Sigma. This card is a 4 drop that has infinite revenge. It returns back into the deck as a 2 mana 4/8, and like I said earlier, a 4/8 is something that you usually pay 5 or more mana for. So the fact that you can get, Sigma to die, come back as a 2 mana 4/8 infinitely, throughout the rest of the game, that's ridiculous. In addition, if you get 8 revenge, it'll come in with an additional +3/+3 with Heavy Pierce, totaling up to a 7/11 Heavy Pierce unit for only 2 MP. That's too much. Next up we have Oda Nobunaga. Oda Nobunaga is a unit where a lot of players mistake that it has infinite revenge when it doesn't, because they read it and they think like, oh, it's like a Jewel, or oh, it's like Sigma. It's not. So this card only has 1 revenge. So on the revenge ability, this card will, on revenge, when this card dies, it'll actually look for the base stats for how much it was. So if it was like a 2/1 for example, then it'll add the 2/1 stats to the 2/5, and Oda Nobunaga will come back as a 4/6 once it returns back into your hand from drawing it. Now it has an additional ability on Ascension where it will gain +1/+1 equal to the attack of the unit that was ascended on top of. So if you had a 6 attack unit, for example, then Oda Nobunaga will become a 8/11. That's pretty powerful. Next up we have a 1 copy of Malphas. This is one of the best cards for the Spike Launch build. We only play one, and it makes sense because it can get cloggy and it would be very difficult to play these cards because they're so expensive. But having one allows you to, regain that life, have the unit. It's very necessary for the core build. Next up we have Urizen, and this card comes at a high cost because on play it sacrifices half your health, but the card itself is well worth it because it has Veil, meaning that cards cannot target Urizen. In addition, you have the growth levels, which have a lot of destruction, gives Urizen +4 health. It's really difficult to play Urizen, like pilot, and find the right times to play it. But generally, you'll find success by pretty much going all in. Usually, you should definitely be careful. Even if I say that a lot of the times you want to go all in, there are times where you will get punished for playing this. So it's really matchup dependent and situation dependent. Next up we have 2 Alexia Ashfords. This card is a really good black card because it can randomly destroy a enemy unit with 5 cost or less, and that's on Ascension. And because the ability is on a unit, your opponent cannot respond to it, and this ability also gets over Veil. In addition, this card sacrifices 3 life on play. Next up we have a target removal. This card is nice because it sacrifices 5 life, powering up our hero art, and it destroys an enemy unit. Now, if our HP is 15 or lower, it removes 5 cards instead of sacrificing 5 life. Next up we have Cruel Games. This card is generally used when you have 0 units and your opponent has a bunch of units. So you can play Cruel Games and then wipe the entire board for your opponent. That's generally how it's used. However, you can use it if you and your opponent have, you have 1 unit, your opponent has 2 units, then you can use this to level out the playing field and have a one-on-one, units. But the unit that gets destroyed is random. Alright, let's get into some games.
I'll give you 5 minutes. Make them count.
Playing against Dark Destruction. This hand's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. This hand is a lot better. I love to see this gate in our opening. And against this matchup, it's nice to see the Alfreds because we can save these for the revenge units if they show up. I'm not entirely sure what this guy's deck is, but it's better to just play the waiting game and see what we're dealing with first here. I will play the unit. Oh, okay. It looks like we're playing against all destroy Wesker. Alright. Let's see. Hopefully they don't play another unit. They did. That's a little bit unfortunate, but it's okay. All destroy Wesker. I am very worried on how we're going to beat this matchup. I'm going to have to use one of my Alfreds. I did not want to use Alfred, but here we are. Alright, that's a 6 cost, so Alexia will not work on that card.
Your struggles are futile.
That is fine. We'll activate Dark Exchange. This will make us cut 1 life and then give us 4. This is really bad because Zavi will keep gaining life, but I have a plan. But the Zavi card is not actually that bad. What? Oh, we didn't get the Ascension. I guess we missed it. That's alright. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna let that attack rock. Wow. This guy definitely knows what they're doing. It's okay, we'll kill this unit. It's definitely gonna be a very difficult game for us because our deck usually relies on the early game and maintaining pressure. We don't really have an amazing late game. Now this guy is playing a control deck, so I can definitely see us having trouble in this matchup going forward.
Your struggles are futile.
Let's go ahead and kill our own card. Alright, they played Zavi again. And we'll definitely kill it. I feel like if we, let it live, it'll kind of get out of hand. Our Fate of the Unworthies have been useless. Oh, this is where they become useful. Alright, nice. That's the first 4-drop and under we've seen.
Your struggles are futile.
I'm gonna go ahead and sacrifice Dynamo.
You think you can stand against a god?
I'm gonna go ahead and deny that. I would like to try and kill this person as soon as possible, just because they are going for the control plan. And we don't want to overcommit too much because we have to remember that our opponent is playing black and black has a lot of board wipes. So if you overcommit too many units, it's going to be a bad time. So far so good.
Mere distractions are for taking out.
We're definitely going to want to block here. It looks like they Alexia Ashford. That was a really good play on their part. Let's go ahead and block here and do this. I'm going to lose a unit, but I really wanted to pop the hero art there. Nice, we kept the Sigma. That's definitely what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and play another unit. Let's wait and see what's going on here.
Your struggles are futile.
Right, they're going to try and prevent that damage by destroying Sigma, but they're cutting 3 life. Okay. This is quite the interesting situation here. We are actually winning. We are actually putting in the work. They are about to have Dark Destruction, so that's why I played the Junie, because playing the gate means that it'll die, will not gain the MP. So
Complete.
that's a 6 cost. Our deck doesn't really do anything against that. And they'll probably not Dark Destruction, so I'll block. Nice, we got the block. They'll probably use Dark Destruction again, so we'll hover.
Mere distractions are for taking
And
out.
then you can hold the card in place while the hero art's going, and then you just drop it. And then now I just keep playing cards. There we go. What the heck is that? Oh. That's certainly a card. So that's Orochi, and I can't really destroy him.
So, you're eager to play.
That's fine. Our Crow is gonna do the work. Nice, got him. That was pretty close.
Feel the wrath of my fists!
Oh, this will be a very interesting hand and game. So this is Raging Demon. Raging Demon's actually really difficult to beat if it's a good player. And we also opened up with Urizen, so I'm gonna try my best to show you how a good Urizen play will go. I actually might forfeit that and then just blow up this dude's plan. Yeah. So I killed their 5-drop. You know, I threw out Alfred and I use Alexia to kill it. Normally I probably would have used Draven, but it wasn't a 3-drop. Now, in this case, I can wait till 8 mana, play Urizen, drop a 3-drop, and then kill that Agile right there. It looks like they are going to try and kill my Alexia, and that's fine. Oh, they negated our card. That was a very good play. So I'm kind of forced to block here. Not really, but I'm gonna block anyways. You know, I don't have to take that damage. So blocking just to save 6 health, why not? Right now I'm just waiting to see what cards they play. You know, they are dual color, so they are forced to play the first card. And my rest of my game plan is just to, you know, play on reaction. So there we go, we killed that card. We are also maxed out on our hero art, which is nice. We can do... I'm actually gonna wait because they have Raging Demon. We want to make sure that they don't get that Raging Demon. Oh, we were too slow. But that's okay. You know, we're still winning on other lanes. We got it going for us. I'm gonna go ahead and block this. I would have taken, you know, 2 anyway, so might as well, you know, pay the 2 life to block. Alright, I'm gonna do this. I wait till last minute. Oh, wow, okay. So we'll kill this. They try to heal off of it. But we're not gonna let that happen. Alright. Sounds good. They're giving it additional attack. That's fine. You know, we kept our hero art, we're just kind of waiting. There's no point in using our hero art on this. They're looking to destroy our top lane unit. That's fine, we'll just, you know, heal off of it. Because we can. And free heal. Nice. Let's go ahead and play a Crow. Crow's really hard to deal with. Alright, we're starting to chip them down. I don't have to do anything with that Walrus. Walrus is going to kill himself. And we deal 4 direct. Look at that. You know what? Let's kill this. I want to kill this early because we already have enough for a second hero art. And hero arts have cooldowns of 13 seconds. So we would definitely want to make sure that, you know, the sooner we get our second hero art, the better. And that crow's gonna do it. Oh, I was too slow. But that's okay. We can kill this card. It's not doing anything to it. And we were so far ahead this game that we actually capped out at 10 mana. That's crazy. And there you have it. Quick victory. Now, I wanted to show my replays because I actually was doing this video before, but the first time I took the video, I noticed that the audio was really bad to the point where I had to redo the video. So actually, I've won 5 games in a row with Nergigante, and that's pretty ridiculous. And in one of the games, I actually played against a top 50 player and took their points from them. So we can definitely rewatch that replay. You know, I hope rewatching this game will show and attest to how viable this deck is.
Commencing battle operations.
So here we actually mulliganed because we do have Fate of the Unworthy, but because our opponent is Tenkuha generally will have the 5-drop build, and Fate of the Unworthy obviously does not work on 5-drops, but we got rewarded with our mulligan because we got Alexia Ashford here. So we can use Alexia Ashford to destroy any 5-drop that our opponent plays. We're just waiting until 10 mana to see what's going on. So we see they dropped the 5-drop, and we're going to go ahead and play Alexia here to destroy that. I waited a bit because I actually have to play around this webcam, so I wasn't sure what they had played at that time. Now, this is great. We are establishing board. They play the Tigrex. I wasn't expecting that, but it's really nice that we have the Crow, because the Crow dealt 2 damage like that. And I have to decide what card I want to play next. I'm going to play with Gate.
Time to finish this.
And I am going to ascend, so we keep all of our units. I'm not going to destroy the Meteor with Hero Art yet, because that card gives shield. So now that Meteor was the only unit out there, I can block, and the shield does nothing. We also have a Hero Art here that we can use to blow up any unit. In fact, I believe our Hero Art is at 8 damage. So if they drop a card with 8 health or less, we can destroy it immediately. But they actually played Date. So here I can kill Date with ultimate price, and that's exactly what we'll do. So we'll destroy Date, and we see they have Naoto up top. We're gonna kill our own card because they're trying to steal it, which is really nice to have self-predation like that.
I'm not done yet.
So Naoto up top, that card, if you have a 5-drop on the field when it's played, it will ignore damage for 13 seconds. So there's not a whole lot we can do against that unit up top. So we'll just have to wait it out. Look like the effect is washed out, so we can start to make other plays. Here we go for the Urizen Dynamo play, because on the first level up for Urizen, it destroys the 3 cost, which Naoto was a 3 cost. That gives us a lot of advantage because we play 2 cards and then they -1. They lost the unit that they were going for. Next up we will do, it should be, oh, I guess we're waiting for the attack trade at bottom, and then we'll ascend with Gate,
Surrender now.
trigger the level 4 with Urizen. That destroys any unit, but it's random. So once they had the only 1 unit left, we use that to kill, and that seals the deal. That gets us the game. Some closing thoughts with this deck. It's definitely an improved version of, you know, older mono black spike launch builds. And what's really nice about this deck list is it's very optimized in the numbers. So if you know, copy this deck list from one of the strongest players that we have for EU, in fact even the world, because Memiot actually has a lot of high placements, well, I don't think you'll be disappointed. This deck definitely has a lot of utility to just keep climbing and, you know, play against the ladder. So if you are a Nergigante fan, feel free to take this deck list and, you know, go forth and climb. I do think that this deck list in particular will also survive time, because a lot of the shell is very good. You know, we were talking about cards that are rotating because of them saying that, hey, standard's going to be, you know, just a select few card sets in the future. So a lot of players are speculating that Day of Nightmares is going to be cycled out. And you'll notice here that there are actually not a whole lot of Day of Nightmare cards here. So you can play all of these cards and invest in this deck without having to worry if they're going to be, you know, gone or washed away. So this will survive the rotation, theoretically, if the only set taken out is Dawn. And yeah, I just really like this deck. It's doing everything that Spike Launch is supposed to do. It fights well against the meta, and the optimization is incredible. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment if you feel like it. And that's it. See you next time.